Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bent with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we got a great show for you. We've got Hillary Reese coming on. She's doing some great things out there. And what a great way to end CRS week for
Yeah,
us, at least. I mean, CRS ain't ending, but for our interviews, she's actually
yes,
our
the
last
last
interview of
one
the week.
of the week.
And we've done 16 interviews this week.
Yes, our most ever in one week.
Wow.
And I think 11 of them were CRS,
Yes, I
something like
think
that.
that's
So a
right,
lot,
something like that.
but we're excited to see where this goes, hear parts of her story, and
Hmm.
just see what happens. So, Hillary, welcome to the show.
Yes,
Thank
welcome.
you so much for having me. I couldn't think of a better way to spend my CRS week. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to be here.
We're definitely excited to
Awesome.
have you. So, I always like to start the show out the same way. We're in a tough season for entertainment. And how has COVID affected what you do? And how have you maneuvered through this crazy maze?
Well, I think along with every artist, touring has stopped, shows have stopped. And that's really kind of put a damper on everyone's mood, especially
Right.
love to get out there and have that face-to-face interaction with everyone. And that's really what can help fuel so many artists along with myself. So that's definitely been a little bit of a tough thing to grasp. But you have a whole new world of Zoom and conference calls and things like that can help you interact with artists, with fans in a way that you've never done before. So it's a good thing and a bad thing on one hand. COVID obviously has affected us in so many different ways, but I've gotten to
Hmm.
know my fans in a different way that I'm really happy with.
And I think something that's going to continue, and a lot of people are doing these shows online where you
Hmm.
where fans pay $5 to participate.
Right.
I think the future will be when everything comes back to where you're doing your concert face to face, but you can still invite your fans into the concert so that people who can't make it there now can be a part of it.
I totally agree. I really do. And two, we have Netflix specials now where they'll show concerts on Netflix or Hulu and
Hmm.
that. So, I'm really excited for just to see what we do creatively once shows do start opening back up again, because now we can have everyone there and just have the biggest party and the best time.
And you get the best of both worlds because
Right.
you still
Yes.
get the live event with all the people,
Right.
but
Hmm.
other people can participate, which is really awesome.
Right. Right.
So, like for us, when we launched this show, with COVID and all that, a couple months before COVID, it was January of 2020. And when our original plan was to do 100 interviews our first year, we thought, what, if we could do 100 interviews, be a great foundation. And we
Hmm.
thought that was pushing it, to be honest.
We did. We were
you
like,
know,
there's no way we'll get that many.
but that was the plan,
Hmm.
100 interviews. And then COVID happened. And I told Sandy, you know what, this may be our silver lining. You know, uh, the entertainment industry had no choice to slow down. And now
Yes.
people would be more apt to come on our show as a news show than, because now they have time to do it. And because of that, we just stepped it up and did over 300 interviews last year.
Oh wow! Congratulations. That's amazing.
But it's
Um,
funny when you think 100 was too much and we did 300.
that's
Yeah.
And you look at, I think so many people have had so much personal growth over COVID. Obviously it's been a tough time, but with me, I think I've definitely gotten way deeper into knowing myself and
Mhm.
figuring out my craft and what type of music I want to make and what type of artist I want to be. So I'm really grateful for that, and I cannot wait to see what's in store for this next phase. Because we're kind of finishing up some music started during COVID, so hopefully
Oh,
that.
wow.
Okay.
So a lot of hosts would ask, when did you know you wanted to do music? But I always like to go deeper than that. When did it click that this could actually be a career for you?
Right. Ooh. Well, I've always loved singing, obviously. But I don't even know when it really clicked that this could be a career. I think it's just been something that I've loved so much that
Mhm.
I had
Hmm.
to do it, and whatever come of it, let that be. It's never was like a thing like, oh my gosh, I want to be famous and make money and things like that. It was something like, oh my gosh, I love this. Let's try and see what just happens with this, you know? So I think when I was about 10 years old, I started putting videos on Facebook. They make me cringe looking back at them, but I started putting videos on Facebook. They got a little bit of attention. I started going back and forth to Nashville and writing and recording, and that's really where my love of music grew. So about then, I kind of realized, oh, this could be taken a little bit more seriously than just, singing along to the radio.
Wow, I
Wow.
love that. And that's like with us,
Mhm.
we had no idea we was going to do a show like this ever.
No
And
idea. Yeah.
and it just came it was just seemed like the next step into all this. And we were running New Country Buzz, which is just a website for news within the up and coming country world.
Right.
And we just thought, that just seemed like the next step, do a show. And then all of a sudden I remember that first show that we did, we had
Mhm.
Ashlyn Grace on and Ava Page. And after that was over, I remember thinking, wow, this is it.
Right.
I'm in. I'm all in.
Oh, yes.
and,
Found your calling.
and I was like, I love this too much. And if
Mhm.
you're watching this live or replay, be sure to share, share, share. And if you're watching it live, you can actually comment and we'll see it and we can pop it up there. So,
Yes, or ask questions, anything like that. Mhm.
Right.
but anyway, we definitely love we get when you're talking about you're chasing the dream and all, we get you because we're chasing that same dream just on a different platform.
Yes.
And I mean, once it just clicks within your brain, you're like, oh, this is what I'm here to do. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And that's the best feeling to find something like that.
Most definitely. Now, a lot of people they see the glory of like a Blake Shelton, of a Carey, of a Miranda, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles that it takes not just to get to their level, but even a career level within the entertainment and music industry. And I think nobody talks about this, or at least they don't talk about it enough. And on our
Mhm.
show, I always want to talk about that side of it because it's so important. I'm going to tell a quick story that kind of helped guide where I want this to go. But back in 2014, we interviewed Allison Steele with Two Still Girls. And at that time, they were full time with music. And I'll never forget asking Allison what advice she'd given up and coming artists. She said, "This will sound funny coming from someone full time, but if you can see yourself doing something else, go do that and just keep this as a hobby." She said, because the moment you want it to be a career, everything changes. You no longer own your life. Everybody around you owns a little piece of it, whether you like it or not. She says, your friends and relatives, they invite you to weddings, to cookouts, to weekends, to holidays. But when you're at the beginning of your career, you're in that grind mode. You can't say yes to anything almost. It's not music related. It's like you're giving up, sacrificing everything for this crazy dream. And then she added that then your family has to sacrifice because they have to share you with the world and be happy about it, or at least pretend to be happy
Right.
about it. But then she added, but if you cannot see yourself doing anything else, if that's how you feel, then go all in. Because the only way that those kind of sacrifices could ever be worth it. What do you think of what she said? Let's talk about that side of it.
I completely agree. I couldn't imagine being anything other than a singer and songwriter and, you know, writing music and making music. That's who I am as a person. And I never would have thought that, being from Mississippi and, my daddy's a coach, my mama is a teacher. So like, that just never was anything in the cards for me, but yet I knew that it was for me. So
Mhm.
I definitely agree with that. And, if you can see yourself doing something else, do it. Because if you are not 100% focused, 100% in it, then I don't think it's going to work. And,
Mhm.
too, there's going to be times where it's going to be really hard, honestly. You're going to have a lot of bull crap thrown at you. You're going to have a lot of stuff that just doesn't seem right. You're going
It doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
so if you have an exit plan, as I like to call it, then you might want to look into that and pursue that. But if you're not 100% dedicated to music and you love music, honestly, when it comes down to it, then I mean, I don't know if it necessarily would be for you.
And I love that answer because, when you watch a lot of the big artists interviewed, there's always one question that almost every host asks. It's always the same. And the host is almost taken aback every time. It's
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
But they ask, what would you be doing if music didn't work? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is I would be a broke musician because I had no plan B. And I remember one of the guys said one time, says, when you have a plan B, your plan B becomes plan A when it gets tough.
Right. 1,000%. I mean, definitely does. You know, music, it's one of those things, like, I have such a deep love for it and deep passion for it that, I mean, it's the only thing that fits. Like I said earlier, it's the only thing that really clicked, you know?
Mhm.
So I don't
Mhm.
think anything else has really clicked. And that plan B is going to become your plan A because it's going to get tough. You know, it's going to be brutal, but it's so rewarding when you do have that type of deep love that you just can't give it up.
So, what are some hobbies you do outside of music? And again, you probably have very few because of music, but with the pandemic, you're probably gaining some too.
Right. I really like to cook,
Oh,
I guess
Awesome.
coming through, but I really like to cook and bake and do that type of stuff. I don't know. I find it really calming in the kitchen, I guess, because I can go through steps and I can control the outcome a little bit. So follow a Pinterest recipe and do pretty good. But besides that, I'm just really focusing on writing right now and making music. I mean, but another thing I just like to do, I grew up on the football field, so watching football games, with my dad or going to watch him coach, that's one of my favorite things to do.
so being that you're all in with music, a lot of people, like we said earlier, really don't understand that. And you being, so young, being 14, do
Mhm.
people not take you seriously when you say this is my dream?
All the time. All the time. Especially, I walk into like a meeting or I'll walk in to meet with someone and they'll just look at me and they'll be like, "Oh, so you want like a little teen bopper song or you know,
Oh, wow.
little Miss Princess thing." And I'm like, "No, I really love music and writing and all aspects of it." So that's what I'm here for. And people will look at me and they'll literally laugh, and especially I started when I was 10 years old. So
Oh, wow.
then they would definitely not take me seriously. But it's almost like fuel to make me want to keep going more and more.
So apparently you're going to be writing with Kyle, huh?
I am. Hopefully
Awesome.
stuff together. Hi.
Love that. Because, again, and I think that's sad out there. You always see people now, if you were chasing a doctorate dream, a lawyer dream, they wouldn't say that same
Right,
thing.
right,
And it's crazy that music just gets this bad rap, so to
It
speak.
does.
And
Mhm.
I think a part of it may be too is a lot of times parents and adults and all that, and great thing is your parents are on board, but for other parents, they see the Blake Sheltons of the world,
right,
and they see the broke brother-in-laws of the world, but they don't see that there's actually many levels in between
right,
where there are a lot of people that make 50, 60, $100,000 a year doing music and you'll never hear their name.
right. And I mean, my parents starting out, they didn't really understand that. And I didn't understand that either.
Mhm.
I mean, like, I was just, a little kid. And even now, it's still like, oh my gosh, but again, with my parents, being in education and my entire family's in education and
Oh, wow.
normal, they're normal jobs and they're great jobs. It's just it wasn't necessarily my calling. So, but I'm glad that my mom and my dad have taken the time to help me, research these things and just figure it out. And that's why too, I want to help as many up and coming artists that I can. I know I'm an up and coming artist, but I want to help other people along the way too, because so many people helped me out by just answering questions here and there and, giving me advice because, like I said, I knew absolutely nothing about the music industry.
So, since you've been in part of the music industry, what's surprised you the most?
Oh, Lord. Everything. I mean,
That's a loaded question, though.
Mhm.
I mean, everything surprised me. I didn't know, that what a producer was when I started. I didn't know what a record label was. I didn't know what
Oh,
any
wow.
were.
Mhm.
Just, and I'm still learning this day. And I think everything surprises me. But you're gonna have, like I said earlier, a lot of people that come at you with a lot of bull crap, but you're also gonna have people come at you with great things, and they'll actually believe in you. So that's why I'm super grateful to my manager Paula Ann and my team of Blaze
And
Entertainment.
let's talk about that, because that's one thing I always
Mhm.
like to do is, on our show, a lot of people, they see the artists, but they don't see the teams
Oh,
behind
that's
them.
so true.
And I always want to make sure that on our show, they get the love they deserve, because in the real world, they don't get no love. The artist gets the love, but they don't.
Right.
So if you want to take a few minutes just to tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
I'd love to. I mean, I'm so grateful to my manager Paula Ann.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She is. Yes.
Great. I almost say like I'm like her granddaughter because we act like, but I her through this amazing organization called the SOS for Life Foundation. I was trying to get involved with, that foundation, wanting to help because it's so amazing. It's for mental health and mental adversities within youth, which is obviously a great cause. And she
Yep.
was
It is.
first. So I got involved with her that way, and she's been my manager ever since. And a Blaze Entertainment, everyone on that team, they care about me, and you feel so loved, and I care about them so much. And they're just great people, and that's what you need in order to be successful in this, is good people around you.
And you also need, and you probably already know this, but you'll definitely learn as you grow that the bigger you get, you need that team, because there's going to be sometimes you have this decision in front of you and it's a bad one.
Right.
And they can be there and say, I wouldn't make that decision.
Right.
And so then you can say, back up and say, okay, thank you. You're my eyeballs to help keep, because again,
Yes.
you've watched it where people destroy their lives right before they were about to make it big, and then now they can't live that passion ever again because of stupid stuff they've done.
For sure. And definitely my manager, she'll call me up and be like, you're not doing that.
Right.
Thank you for that warning, So I mean, I'm really grateful for that. And again, to all my other people, other up and coming artists, it might seem really bad in the beginning, like, oh my gosh, why don't they want me to be successful? But they're looking out for your best interest at heart. Just make sure they're good people around you, and I have people around me.
And I can see Paula doing that because we talk a lot. And it's funny, every time me and Paula get on the phone, it's always a 45 to 60-minute conversation.
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't fail. She can talk, and of course I can talk. So it's like you put
So
two
you get
talkers
them on the
together.
phone together.
It's just
Right.
forever. She's really cool. I
She's
love
awesome.
her. She's doing some great things too out there. So definitely love that.
Yes.
Yes, and it's so funny because she talks really fast because she's from Jersey, and I'm a slow talking country girl. So it's like funny, apples and oranges.
Now, speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our little
Yes, we
9-year-old
do.
that we bring on the
His
last
name is
couple
Christopher.
questions. So she's going to go get
I
him.
will get him.
And we've got an almost 2-year-old little daughter that when she gets older and can talk, we'll be plugging her in the show too, because we're a family affair.
That's great. I'm a big family person, so hey, you got to stick together.
Yep, definitely. And you got, I think that family is everything. And I know a lot of people got rough families.
Right.
I'm just, I just don't want to create that.
Right, and that's really amazing. Hi, how are you?
So what's your favorite food?
Oh, I love me some barbecue, some ribs, and then some steak. Love barbecue. What's yours?
Mine is pizza.
That's a great food. Great food. It's nice to meet you.
Yes.
He's got one more question.
Yes. So what's your favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? I'm a reality TV junkie. I don't like to admit it, but 90 Day Fiance and The Bachelor. What's yours?
Yes.
Mine is SpongeBob.
I love SpongeBob. I'm not even gonna lie about it. I love SpongeBob.
What's been cool is he watches a lot of Nickelodeon shows.
Right.
And because our show is more than music, we bring actors on too. We've been able to bring like 6 or 7 actors that play parts that he likes on his shows on our show.
That's amazing.
So he's been able to talk to some of these actors and actresses that he loves. So it's really been really cool.
That's great. I had to stand in line at the water park for 5 hours to talk to my Disney Channel favorites.
We all had to do that. So it's really cool that we're doing something that he can actually. And when Caitlin gets older, who knows what boy band she's probably going to love. The odds are, anyway.
Yeah.
That's.
Bye, thanks.
Bye. Have a good day.
Yeah, he loves that part. And like I said, for most episodes he's been in, and we love that.
That's amazing. I mean, like I said, I grew up on the football field with my dad, and that's some of my favorite memories. I mean, my dad's been a coach for 30 years. So,
Oh, well.
water girl, and I was like, pick up the cups you dropped on the ground. Like, oh my God.
And I think it's important because a lot of people, you want to inspire passion and purpose into your kids.
Right.
They have a front row seat to yours, so involve them with your passion, like and I think that will inspire, like what you said with your dad. He kind of inspired you
Right.
being on the field with him and all that, so you got to experience his passion with him.
Right, and it's such an important thing too. With my dad, I got his competitiveness, but I also got,
Oh, wow.
He loved teaching kids. He loved being there for them because football is such a rock for a lot of people. A lot of high schoolers. So I got to see him be that rock, and I got to see him lead prayers and guide people to faith, and just how to be a good person. So, I mean, that definitely inspired me to, do so much. And then with my mom, she was the one with me and my brother a lot while my dad practice. And, she was singing with us on the radio, and she was drumming with the steering wheel. So my parents definitely have a lot of impact on me.
So tell us a parent story, and you probably got 1,000 of them. I get that. But tell us a story where they went above and beyond for your career, and you're like, wow, they really get this is my passion.
They've done so much. I mean, it's kind of hard to put into words, but I mean, one of my favorites is I performed at the Roxy for the SOS for Life Foundation about a year and a half ago. And, my country bumpkin family, it was like the Beverly Hillbillies. We busted away. And, all of my family came, my brother, my dad, my mom, and they were there to support me the entire trip. And they were there cheering me on. They got dressed up and stuff, and it was so amazing. It was like, wow, they flew all the way across the country, put themselves in this completely different environment because, my family, we're not LA people. I mean, I love it, but we're just like 10 lanes of traffic. We can't do it. It was really amazing because they came out there. They, changed their entire world upside down, flew across the country. And my dad came out there and he had to be at work the next day, and he flew back. So just the sacrifices like that, and they've done things like that countless times. So I mean, I'm forever grateful.
And I think that's important for people. Not that you can't make it without parents, but it's so important to have their backing in this type of industry, because so many things come at artists,
right,
and actors and actresses and all that, that they need that parent support. So I wish more parents would be like your parents.
Definitely. And I mean, I've seen it so much, and then I've had other members not be as supportive, that they say, oh, you should be, back in regular high school, and you should be, going to the prom instead of trying to make an album and things like that. And I've just been like, well, that's not for me right now. But, it's really important to just have some type of support system, whether it is, your family or a support system that you choose, because you're going to need it, because it's going to get tough, and you're going to need them to help cheer you up. But when it's great, you're going to need somebody to celebrate with.
So Grandpa's your greatest fan, huh?
Oh, Lord. Hi.
Oh.
He's great.
So tell us a Grandpa story.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, Lord. I don't know if it's appropriate, but I mean, he's always been really, really supportive. I'm practiced countless times in his pool room that he has, to play pool.
Oh, wow.
But honestly, him giving me career advice and stuff while sitting on the front porch smoking a cigarette, like
I love that. So this question will have probably 1,000 answers, but just think of the first thing that pops in your head. But what is a song you've heard that you wish you wrote?
Ooh, Small Town Hypocrite, Kaylee Hammock.
Oh wow! And
Wow.
we interviewed Kaylee Hammock.
Oh, we
I
did.
she,
She's awesome.
she's amazing, and that song, that's one of my favorite songs. Bible in a 44 by Ashley McBride, and that's a great, and anything old school country, anything.
Love it.
Love that. Yes.
So if you could co-write with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be, and what would you want to write
That's a tough one. Um,
about?
I feel like I'd have to choose somebody like Billy Nelson. His writing
Wow.
been
Yes.
insane, with Crazy by Patsy and things like that. I don't know. I feel like I just want to write a really good sad country song, because I mean, those are just the best. And Willie, I feel like when you listen to stuff he writes, it's just like wrapping you up in a big hug. He's an amazing, amazing writer.
He is. Absolutely.
So when you sit down to write a song, what is your songwriting process? Where do you begin?
I feel like it's different every single time. And I bet every artist says that, but it really is. And sometimes a melody will pop into my head. Sometimes it'll be the lyrics, but a lot of the times I'll just hear something, whether somebody else says it or I hear it on the TV or even I say it, and I'll be like, wow, that could be in a song, even if it's the simple phrases, and then I'll just bounce off that. But I'm a pen and paper type of girl. I can't type up lyrics. That just doesn't work for me. So I'll usually just sit at my piano or with my guitar, get my pen, paper, put my phone away, and then those usually are the songs that end up sticking.
Wow. So when did you write your first song?
I wrote my first song probably 9 or 10 years old. I think it was something like, I'm growing up in Mississippi, yada, 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 yada. Some cringy little song, but it's opened a whole new door to me. And now songwriting is such a big part of who I am as an artist and as a person. And, I could not live without songwriting.
Love that. So what song of yours means the most to you and why?
It's like picking from all of my babies. Oh my God.
I love to put people on the spot.
Oh, yes.
Well, as far as my release songs, I'll pick between those. Because I can't talk about the new ones yet. But my release songs go When the Smoke Clears. That's probably the most meaningful to me because I wrote it in a time where, everyone was so divided and this world just had so much hurt. And obviously that's still going on. But I was just like, wow, I need to wake up. And just such
Wow.
it makes you listen, and it's like, what are we going to do when the smoke clears? So it's all about unity and coming together as one. And that's a big message I try to get across.
Definitely love that answer. So this month made the 6-year anniversary that we asked Kelsey Ballerini where she wanted to be in 5 years.
Oh my
And I always like to tell this story but before I ask the guest that exact same question, because she knew where she was going. She had that vision, and the answer she gave us to that question, within 5 years, she was living it. So it was amazing to watch. Because when we interviewed her, I think her first single was like number 28 on the charts. So so still a lot of people didn't know who she was. Now everybody knows who she is,
Right.
And so knowing that, where do you want to be in 5 years?
Well, I mean, as long as I'm still making music that's true to me, I'll be happy. That's one thing I do know, and as long as I have control over my music and it's coming from me, then I will be happy. But as far as goals, I want to play the Grand Ole Opry. I want to, hopefully get signed by a label, but I want to go on tour, I want to headline a tour hopefully one day. Just things
Yeah.
like ultimately, if I'm making music that I want to make, I'll be the happiest girl alive because, not many people get to do that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. So let's look even further down the road. Let's look 15 years down the road. Let's say that your success on a grand scale, whatever that looks like for you, you're there. If the person you are today could meet your future successful self, what would you want to remind her?
Don't forget where you came from. And I don't think I'll ever forget just because it's such a big part of who I am. But, if I got to slap myself in the face, my future self, don't forget where you came from because, at the end of the day, you're still the same old girl. You know, you you're just a Mississippi girl. You're someone who has been through crap. You're someone who,
Faith Hill.
Oh yes, that's a
right,
great song. Faith Hill, Mississippi Girl.
right, Mississippi Girl by Faith Hill. That's a good song. And
Yeah.
I got to listen to that song sometime and just remind myself. But as long as I'm true to my roots and helping others,
Mhm.
do what I'm doing, then I think I'll be good.
Love that. And Sandy's
Right.
got a few questions.
Yes. Right. And how would you describe your music to someone who's never heard it before?
I would describe my music as honest and old country with an edge. So
I
especially
love it.
upcoming music, old country. It's what I grew up on. Brooks and Dunn, Greta Lynn, Tammy, Dolly. People like that. So that with a little bit of an edge and a little bit of kick butt to it. That's what you're going to music.
Awesome. And if you could go on vacation anywhere in the world, where would you want to go?
Definitely somewhere tropical. I mean,
Yes.
for the snow at all. I mean, it got below 40 for like a split second where I live, and I thought I was going to
Mhm.
die. So somewhere like, I don't know, Bora Bora or somewhere like that.
Oh wow,
Oh, that's on
my
our
thing.
bucket
That's our
list.
bucket list.
Yeah,
We love
that's
that.
to go to.
Where you in those little huts and you
Over the
see over the
water.
water. It just looks so
That would be
beautiful.
so cool.
Because the Pinterest photos you see of it make it look insanely,
It
beautiful.
does. It looks amazing. And I've got one more question. What would you like your legacy to be as an artist? What would you ultimately like to be known for?
I just want to be known for making good music, and being a good person. That's one of my biggest thing. I'm not going to be, a diva or anything. I'm just going to be, somebody who puts their heart and soul into their music and, like I said earlier, helps others along the way and, being a good person and a good Christian girl. I
Awesome.
love
Love that.
music.
Got to keep it in. Got to keep you grounded here.
Right.
Yes. Awesome.
I love that. So as we come to our last question here,
Mhm.
let's say that you had a friend of yours, you heard him or her sing, and they got something special. As Simon Cowell would say, they have that it factor.
Right.
And let's say they played only 40 or 50 shows. So this will be advice pre-COVID, so keep that in mind. But they've played maybe 40 or 50 shows. So they're still getting their feet wet on the performance side. But they've gotten on stage. They got what every artist says, that stage bug where they look over the crowd, the crowd's roaring, and they just know that they're in the right place. And they come to you and they say, Hillary, I feel like I'm called to this. I know I'm supposed to do this with the rest of my life. What advice would you give that specific person to help guide them the next couple years?
Well, if you feel like you are being called to it, not necessarily that you want it, but you're just being called to it. Something is pulling you towards doing it, then I would say follow it 100%. But make sure you know ahead of time before getting into it. It's going to be hard work. You're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to do things that you might necessarily not want to do, but it's going to help you as a person and for your career. So know that those things are going to come along with doing it. And if you're prepared to do those things, then jump in because, if you feel called to it, then that's an amazing, amazing feeling.
Yep, great advice. And I remember when we started this show, I asked a Nashville friend of mine what advice he'd give us. I'll never forget what he said. He said, "Whatever you do, be and stay authentic from day one." He says you could tell every Bobby Bones joke, you could tell every Ty Bentley joke. He said, and you might be good at it. He says, but the day will come when authentic Chris comes out. And when that day comes, you're going to lose every bit of your audience because they were never attracted to that. So if you start from day one being authentic, your show may grow slower, but you'll grow with the right audience. And I think that's perfect for artists too.
Right. And you'll be happier with what you do ultimately because you know it came from you. You know what I mean? I mean, especially
Mhm.
music and things like that, it can be really, really scary to, put your heart on paper and sing it in front of a room of people. But at the end of the day, they want to hear what you have to say because there's not going to be another you. So you've got to put yourself out there like that. So I definitely that 100%.
Yeah, that's like we've noticed people that I know out there who do what we do sometimes copy some of our questions, the exact same questions. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they can, people can copy you all day long, but they don't have the same delivery as you. And I think artists can agree with that too.
Right. And at the end of the day, they're not you. You know what I mean? So like you're
Mm-hmm.
a step ahead of them because you're working on the next project. You're thinking of new ideas. You're thinking
Yeah.
they don't have. So you're gonna be successful as long as you remain true to yourself.
I just love that. And Kyle made another comment. Says you're an inspiration.
Oh,
Yeah.
so much. That means the world.
Mhm.
Yeah, because again, that's really good that you do all that and that you work with the SOS. We're part
Oh
of that
yes, that's a
too.
great
We,
organization there.
and especially in this day
So
and time,
needed.
I've always felt like an outcast all my life, and Sandy same way.
Oh yeah,
So that
we've
was,
been bullied and stuff,
and
and
so
other
when
people. Yeah.
Paula told me about her organization, I remember saying, "Oh, I've got to support that."
Right.
Because
Yeah.
all my life in high school, I mean, I pretty much quit school because of that.
Right. And it's
And
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
no, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's especially important, during COVID. I mean, it was important before, obviously, but now we have this whole isolation thing, and everybody's at home, and it can be really, really lonely and depressing. And I've, struggled with depression and anxiety, and it's not a good feeling to have. So having
Right.
like that an outlet like music really helps, and then having a support system like SOS can make a world of difference.
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as we end here, tell everybody how they can reach you and any final parting words.
You can reach me on my Facebook and Instagram at official Hillary Reese. You'll see me there. You'll know it's me by the accent. But for my parting words, I would just like to let everyone know, if you're looking for old school country with a twist, then I'm your girl. But also, if you're looking for authentic girl that writes heartfelt music, I'm your girl too. And I want to thank all of y'all, including y'all too, for having me on. And it's such a great way to end my CRS week. So I really, really appreciate it. And just thank y'all all for the support.
And we definitely enjoyed having you on.
We
And we
did.
look forward to having
Yes.
you back down the road as you grow. And again,
Mhm.
this is the end of our CRS week
It
too.
is.
Your last interview, we thought, and I remember we actually set you up the interview before I realized we were going to be a part of CRS.
Right.
That's
And
right. We did.
and so
Hmm.
all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay, that's part of CRS. We'll just turn it into a CRS interview.
Yay.
Yes.
So happy y'all did. It was a great interview. Thank you.
We appreciate
Oh,
it.
thank
You
you
have a
so
great day.
much.
You too.